We're going to take up tab number 4, SB1726 on flood. Oh, what? Sorry, that was my bill. Never mind. Yep, I got it. SB1526. Give me 1 second. You are recognized, Senator Avila, to explain your bill on the local regulation of non-conforming or unsafe structures. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. Madam Chair, I do have a strike all, but I will give a brief explanation on the bill right now, and then I'll go into to the strike all with your permission and guidance. Senators, this bill creates the Resiliency and Safe Structures Act, providing that a local government may not prohibit, restrict, or prevent the demolition of the following unsafe structures for any reason other than safety. First, non-conforming structures located within 1/2 mile of the coastline, which are also within zones V, VE, AO, and AE as identified in the flood insurance rate map issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Second, any structure determined to be unsafe by a local building official, and any structure ordered to be demolished by a local government that has proper jurisdiction. Also, the bill does not apply to single-family homes. The bill only applies to punitive measures tied to the demolishing and rebuilding of unsafe structures. That is the bill, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the bill? Senator Stewart, you're recognized.
I didn't know whether this is the right time, but I'll go ahead and ask the question because I know you've got an amendment.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think this won't matter either way. Is there an inspection required on buildings seeking demolition?
You're recognized to go back and forth.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator, for that question. So, as it pertains to the language in this bill and to the intent of this bill, all of that would be done by the local jurisdiction and the local building department within that jurisdiction, and the local building officials within that jurisdiction. They would be the ones that would be making the determination of whether a structure is unsafe or not.
Okay, one more. Yes. And are there any guardrails for the types of buildings that may replace a demolished building? Like height or
so let's say each building is different. I'm sure that there's different, with each and every building, there's different specs and different, height or easements related to that particular property. Now, what the bill would be saying is that if obviously that building, once deemed unsafe and deemed appropriate to be demolished by that local jurisdiction and the building department within that jurisdiction, that then the person, whoever acquired the property and or had the property and is rebuilding on that property, they would basically follow what's allowed in that jurisdiction in terms of the code and in terms of height and density.
That was my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and take up amendment barcode 568282. Senator Avila, you're recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. So this this amendment applies to structures or buildings on properties that are that intersect with the coastal construction control line and are either a non-conforming structure according to FEMA flood elevation standards, or a structure or building determined to be unsafe by a local building official, or a structure or building ordered to be demolished by a local government that has the proper jurisdiction. Again, the bill itself, or this amendment, I've been working with the stakeholders. This is actually the House version that is right now before you for consideration. This has been a product of working with the different stakeholders to make sure that we can, sort of bring everybody to a point where, once these properties have been deemed unsafe, that, we minimize the impact in terms of any sort of historical, districts and things of that nature, and we focus on those structures that are unsafe and have been deemed unsafe by that local jurisdiction. That is the amendment.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, are there any appearance forms? Okay, we have several. We're going to have Melissa Wiley with the Florida Trust, who is speaking in favor of the amendment. Florida Trust for Historic Preservation, you are recognized.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Melissa Wiley, and I'm the CEO and President of the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation. We're the statewide organization that works to protect our state's history and heritage. On behalf of our membership and preservationists from around the state, I wanted to thank Senator Avila for introducing the amendment today and for his efforts to balance the intention to secure safety for our communities while also protecting the historic places that makes our communities unique and special. The amendment today is a step in that direction, and we hope we can continue to work with stakeholders going forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Alex Fernandez, Miami Beach City Commissioner. You are recognized to speak in favor of the amendment. You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I, too, want to echo the words of the previous speaker. In gratitude to the Senator Avila, thank you for this important amendment. This amendment is important because there's changes that help recognize the importance of the Art Deco district in Miami Beach. Mm-hmm. That is a beautiful asset that this state has, that all of you and all of us should be proud of as a state. Over 800, a collection of over 800 Art Deco buildings that are unique. The largest collection of Art Deco buildings in the United States. And this historic district is a cornerstone of our economy and not only enriches our cultural landscape, but it also significantly contributes to the state's economy with approximately $119 million flowing back right here to Tallahassee in sales tax dollars from the cultural tourism that comes to our community because of those historic buildings. And because of that, we're grateful that this amendment helps save those buildings. Preservation of our architectural heritage is not a cultural endeavor, but a crucial economic engine for both Miami Beach and the state of Florida. I want to just highlight that this amendment puts us in a much better position. We still have some concerns that we'd like to work with the two sponsors to address questions as to unsafe structures. Not all unsafe structures are the same. Some unsafe structures can come out of a simple elevator violation, or someone might do work without a permit, or you have a leak in a building, and a building official may use that as a method to achieve compliance, but it might not mean that the building is unsafe for occupancy. And those are minor details that we hope to be able to work with the sponsors along the process. But certainly much appreciation to Senator Avila for accepting this amendment, and thank you all for your consideration of it.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, next we have David Burcham with the City of St. Augustine, waving in support. Thank you for being here. Lena Juarez will be waving in support from the city, representing the City of St. Augustine. Okay, that's all for appearance forms on the amendment. Is there any debate? Okay, Senator Avila, you are recognized to close on the amendment.
Wave closed, Madam Chair.
All in favor of the amendment say yay.
Yay.
All opposed say nay. The amendment is adopted. Back on the bill as amended. Are there any questions on the bill as amended? Okay. Are there any appearance forms? We have several. Right. We have Kim Dinkins with 1,000 Friends of Florida speaking against. You're welcome. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Kim Dinkins, and I'm the Policy Director for 1,000 Friends of Florida. We advocate for environmentally and fiscally responsible community planning. We're concerned about the local preemption in the bill that would prevent restrictions on building height for replacement structures. It would have the potential to change the face of some of our state's most iconic communities and put even more people at risk due to increased density or intensity in these highly vulnerable areas. The policy runs counter to the legislature's significant investment in improving resiliency. While we absolutely support the goal of ensuring that communities are safe, it's also essential that we protect the unique historic areas that make Florida special. The bill is likely to result in more people in the direct path of natural disasters, further constraining limited infrastructure in some areas, and we ask that you vote no today.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Danielle Ciraldo with the Miami Design Preservation League will be speaking against. You are recognized.
Hi, good afternoon, Senators. Nice to see
Good
you.
to see you.
Daniel Ciraldo here from Miami Beach. I met many of you last year at the first go-around with the bills, so I feel like I'm getting a lesson in how bills are made, and very thankful for all of your service. And I also wanted to thank the Senator Avila, who mentioned at the last hearing that he probably wouldn't be welcome for coffee on Ocean Drive, but I will promise you that we have cortaditos ready to go at Puerto Sagua, so welcome to have you there at any time. Obviously, now that we know that with this amendment, the Art Deco district is sort of off the chopping block for now, we've got many challenges there, but we want to make sure that we have our historic preservation, which helps honestly keep these buildings in good shape. We give incentives through federal government, tax, and other grants to help the building owners as well. So we are here to be favorable on that amendment, even though it did say in opposition to the overall. The remaining item that I wanted to touch on is just the way that it's worded. And I think even hearing the senator speak, we're all in agreement. If a building is unsafe and if it's ordered to be demolished by the local government, we really shouldn't get in the way of that. I think we could all agree on that. But our concern is the first line says if the building is non-conforming, which is defined as not being at the flood level for new construction. Now, I don't know about your districts, but in my district, new construction's got to go way up here. And if we say that our historic buildings are automatically unsafe because they're not all the way up at that level, we will put them in harm's way, our economy in harm's way, and a lot of our heritage at risk. So we know that this bill is still in progress. We're thankful for today's hearing. We are hopeful to work with the senator to get that final amendment and maybe even something we can all agree on. And thanks again for everything that you do. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Ciraldo. All right, next we have Andrea Spiridonakos. That's my best Greek pronunciation for Federated Republican Women of Miami Beach, speaking against. You are recognized.
Hi, so nice to be here. This is my first time in Tallahassee and my first time in like such a scenario. So I'm very honored. I take this responsibility not lightly. I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm very grateful for that amendment because it does make a huge difference for Ocean Drive. I've mentioned this once before to you at the date delegation.
I remember you, yes.
That Ocean Drive could possibly be designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the amount of Art Deco architecture. It's very, very special. But we do have buildings that are just to the north that are also they're not part of the 2000, I don't know the exact terms but in the bill, but they wouldn't be considered conforming, and then it could be incentivizing for people to just let their buildings go down. I don't think that was the intention of the bill. I'm sure it's well intentioned, but it's like opening a Pandora's box where people would say, hey, I could get a lot more money if I just let my building go down, deem it unsafe, have it demolished, and have it sold to a huge developer from out of town, whatever, it doesn't matter. But in the meantime, what happens to our history? So I'm a conservative. I don't want to be here like trashing everybody. I'm really in support of you guys, but I'm really worried about the history and saving. Without our history, what do we have? You know what I mean? If we tear down all our buildings and tear down all our statues, it's what makes us special. It's what we learn from. And I just think that I just want to be aware that maybe there is some language that could be changed in the bill, like with that non-conforming, because it would automatically make everything in that area non-conforming, and they're non-safe, knock it down. And so that's just why I'm here. And I really appreciate this time. I love my city, so I want it to stay exciting and beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. And last but not least, we have David Cullen with the Sierra Club of Florida, and you are waving against. Thank you for being here. All right, is there any debate? Okay. Senator Avila, you're recognized to close on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. I just want to touch on a couple of things. In terms of something, a structure being deemed unsafe, that is not Tallahassee deeming it unsafe. That is the local building official, and that is the local building department of those jurisdictions. That is not up to us to deem, something that is there in the community unsafe. That is literally their building official, their building department going by what they know and their training and their definition of what something is unsafe. The other thing I wanted to just highlight is, one of the speakers mentioned, more people living along the coast. I mean, right now, the state of Florida, you've got more than 75% of the population that lives along the coast. That's just the natural nature of it, right? A lot of people want to live on the coast. They want to enjoy, the breeze. They want to enjoy certainly the scenery, the atmosphere, and those coastal communities are absolutely spectacular and beautiful. And naturally, a lot of our population wants to live along the coast. What this bill seeks to do is to make sure that those buildings that are deemed unsafe, that those buildings, once that building department has deemed that building should be demolished, that building or that structure be demolished and then built according to whatever that jurisdiction's code allows. We're not changing any of that. We're just making that atmosphere, making that jurisdiction a little bit safer, especially as we've seen in South Florida, what the consequences could be for any structure along the coast. So with that, my commitment is to certainly continue to work with the stakeholders. It is a delicate balance between property rights and history. Certainly I'm extremely pro property rights. However, I do make sure, especially with this, that we preserve as much of our history as possible. There is something that I did want to point out. A lot of the local jurisdictions, particularly in South Florida, they deem certain buildings and certain structures historic, and that's according to their preservation boards. The National Registry, as an example, one of our cities, Miami Beach, then on the National Registry, there's 7 structures that are deemed historic. The local historic board has deemed 2,600 structures to be historic. There's a clear discrepancy there. So that's certainly something that I'm going to continue to work with them on, where we need to really tighten up that shot group, because not everything can certainly be historic, but we also need to prioritize safety when it comes to these structures.
Thank you. Kim, please call the roll on CS for SB 1526.
Senator Martin? Yes. Senator Mayfield? Yes. Senator Polsky?
Yes.
Senator Stewart?
Yes.
Senator Wright? Vice Chair Harrell? Chair Rodriguez?
Yes, and by your vote, CS for SB 1526 is reported favorably. Congratulations. Okay, with that